2018 has seen 5 seasons of the Diorite experts UltraHardCore. We've seen newcomers join and do relatively well. We've assembled a crew that is motivated to keep UltraHardCore going. We've introduced a new victory condition to add more strategy to the game. And to top it off, a UHC committee has been appointed to take the game to further heights. But there is one thing that has been a constant factor throughout the entire year. This is the domination of one player taking all of this year's victories, killing almost everyone in front of him. This is Snodog627, and that player is me. Ultra Hardcore has always been a big passion for me ever since I discovered it through Mindcrack, and therefore I have trained a lot in the past, and I've put a lot of effort into the organization of these events. Now that I'm no longer the only host in the UHC committee, I will give you an analysis as to why I have won all these seasons this year and an insight to my technique that brought me to the winning ways so that during the next season I can be dethroned. So for our first topic, I will look at how I won all of these seasons. So season 23 to season 27 of the Diorite Experts Ultra Hardcore. At first we start at season 23, which was in January of this year. And a kind of the summary of the game was that me and Gilliard in the blue team, we were together against three others, against Robert, Proba, Luke, and Natalie. So early on, very early on, Gilliard took a tumble down a ravine and fell down and only remained on half a heart. So what happened was he refused to get out of a cave. He refused to go up and see the sun until he at least recovered some health, which means that we had been strip mining and basically just searching for gold and diamonds for the entire game we uh, before we fought the other team. So what what happened? What happened? We got his health up a little bit. Just before both of our teams reached 0-0, Natalie died due to drowning, which meant that we only had a 2v2 situation. Our health at that moment, my team had 12 and a half hearts, while the other team had only 10 hearts, which is kind of a stalemate. You don't really know how that's gonna go down. It can go down either way, but because Gilliard was very low, we definitely did not want the two of them to gang up on one person. So what what did we decide? We decided that I, with the most health, should go and try to flank them um, before they could turn both of their attention to one person, catch them by surprise. So what happens when I was going up the mountain? Uh, Robert and Luke spotted Gilliard, and Gilliard, of course, being very low, uh, was not able to give a lot of resistance. I tried to come as fast as I could when I saw them run down, but unfortunately they got him. But during that process, they had no clue where I was, and I was coming down. I was coming down onto them, right behind Luke. Uh, and because Luke and Robert they were quite far away from each other, um, which meant that I could pick up Luke by surprise. I caught him unaware, and I could kill him without taking any damage. Then it was a straight up dogfight, and I know for myself this was also at the old PvP system, and I it's just a known fact that I uh, always have been better at PvP than Robert. So when we had when we are at in a in a situation where we have like similar health, then that it will probably be me that wins that fight. So yeah, we did. What were the crucial things in the win here? The crucial thing is was the strategy. Me being able to kill Luke before they could both focus their attention on me, and just picking him off while he was on his own is what won us this season. I could not have done it if both of them were together and if they both spotted me at the same time. So season 24 is a whole different story. Um, we were messing around with the Mumble plugin, trying to get positional audio working. Um, and after preparing for so long, I did a lot of tests with Corijn, and it seemed to be working all well for the both of us. But when just multiple people joined in, we we just it just didn't work. So in the end, we switched back to Discord, and uh, we would go into the same voice chat as the first person that we met in that game. So when when at the start Corijn met Daniel. Daniel was in his very first game, and did not really have he did not really have a clue on how to play it. He lost a lot of health. He uh, was not cautious enough, which is understandable for a rookie, but it definitely helped helped us a lot. And after that, it was just like with the mumble mess, it was like I decided that, well, this is not gonna work. So everyone that's still in Mumble, let's just leave Mumble and let's go into Discord all by ourselves. And so the teams were it was a 3v2 situation, um, with me, Meneer, and Luke against against Daniel and Corijn. Well, and which was already kind of unfair. You you gotta say that. So kind of this is already where the season was won. Of course, we still had to do the job and kill them, but that was not really an issue. When I spotted them, uh, this is pretty funny. The health situation was that in total my team had 26.5 hearts, while their team only had 2.5 hearts. So yeah, they were both just a single blow. I remember flanking them. I remember these guys are such low health. I'm just gonna get 2 kills right here. So while both Meneer and Luke were pretty hesitant, they didn't know or didn't want to go in. And I just went like, yeah, whatever. Uh, I don't really care if I take a lot of damage here because I can kill the both of these guys in one hit. So what happened? I sneaked up behind him, uh, gave Daniel one hit in his back, killed him, of course. I remember Meneer saying, "No, now you're gonna get all kills," because he, of course, wanted some too. But no, this is just me going in. I know I can get kills. Um, and after that, also Corijn should have been easy to kill, but I was not very good at the combat. I missed him a couple times, and then he put himself in lava. So, which was basically the end. A very tragic end to their season. So, to conclude this, indeed, this season it was all kind of a mess, and I won this season not because I was the most skilled player. Well, maybe I was, but this season was won just because the teams were balanced, unfortunately. Season 25 seemed to be a cracker. At the start of the game, we finally got 6 people together again after a very long drought of only having 5 people. Um, so in yellow we had Tim and Luke. Then we had myself and Daniel, and in the red team we had Quirijn and Wouter. Wouter, of course, just did his first season there, and he didn't really know what to do, and both both him and Skrine, they were very reckless at the start of the season. So immediately they took a lot of damage, and which was kind of irrecoverable. So both of them had died already in less than 30 minutes, which was kind of unfortunate. If I look back at it, maybe we should have given Wouter a second go because he was out very early on, maybe less than 10 minutes. So I don't know, but that's about the past. I can change that. But they were dead very soon. They just went into caves and were not protected and basically found their doom over there. So that's left one team out of the equation. So it was just again a 2v2 situation. We were looking pretty equal with the yellow team until Luke took a lot of damage. Tim also took a lot of damage, and it ended up with Luke being on only half a heart and falling to his death. So then at the end, it was like Tim already knew that he was not going to win the season, so he was just going to try something different, something maybe funny, a funny way to end the season. And we were also like, yeah, this is not really gonna be a challenge. So uh, Tim put up no resistance when I tried to shoot him and failed miserably. And then Daniel gave him the final hit with his sword. So yeah, again an unfortunate season. This season again, I did not really win it because I had such superior skill as opposed to my opponents. However, I did stay alive where all of the others were reckless, were taking unnecessary damage. And to some extent, I can take credit for that. That's I had the best performance together with my teammate Daniel, of course. But overall, this season was more down to a little bit of luck than actually me being very good. Now, season 26 was very exciting because the water update just came out. We played on a map that we had a survival server on for most of the summer, which was a lot of fun, by the way. And so everyone was very excited to get into this new sort of UHC with this new twist. And we had six people. Uh, we had Luke and Wouter together. Again, me and Daniel and Quirijn and Tim this time. So what's what happened at first? Somewhere mid throughout the game, Luke died by falling into lava. He had all of the good gear of him and Wouter, so this left Wouter alone, and pretty much a forgotten cause unless the other two teams made a big mess out of it. So what was happening? When Daniel and I went to spawn to just check it out, see whether there's someone there already. We're not really expecting to fight anyone yet, but uh, I could see both Tim and Quirijn were already there at spawn. So I don't think they saw me at that moment. So what I said, okay, we were still looking for diamonds, but it doesn't matter now. I think they haven't seen us. We can ambush them. We can make sure that we do more damage to them. While we do know that they have a lot of diamonds because we already saw that one of them had diamond gear. So they might have had enchantments, they might have had better gear, but I knew that if we could surprise them, we were on similar health in a similar health situation again. 19.5 hearts for my team and 15.5 hearts for their team. So we had a slight health advantage, but I knew we could beat them if we ambushed them. So I told Daniel, just go make this diamond sword. We don't really care about enchanting anymore. and we just go kill him, and we go win this season. So after doing that, sneaking up on him, or basically just rushing in at some moment, I fell down. I fell down off of a cliff, and right at that moment, I saw both of them sneaking and looking towards me, and I thought, shit, this is it. I'm not gonna win this. So, so what happened? I thought I definitely was gonna die there. So, uh, at first I saw Koran. I looked at Koran. I saw Daniel taking him, and from the other side, Tim was hitting me. But what I realized then, so we had like two 1v1s, and what I realized then is that I should just use my skill, know what I already know. How how does the shield work, for example? Tim was trying to spam click me, I think, and so what happens? I blocked all of it. I blocked all of his attacks. Make sure that once he got me very low already, he was not able to hurt me anymore, and I just hit him every time he did not swing his sword, making making me the winner of that fight. Albeit very low, being very low at the last moments, having to eat an apple, and then Daniel also needed to eat an apple because he also was very low from his fight with Quirijn. Uh, but in the end, that was a 2v1, plus my dog was also attacking him, um, which made it too hard for him to focus on three different things, try to block three different attacks, which basically caused him to lose. And Daniel in the end got the final blow on Quirijn, um, making us the victors of that fight. Uh, so, but why did we win this fight? Of course, why did I win from Tim? Is because my technique was better. I had better skill. I knew what to do. I knew that I shouldn't spam click. I knew that I should use my shields once he was trying to hit me. And this combination made me better in the PvP part. But in the build up to this part, actually, Tim and Quirijn made mistakes. Like what they had enough diamonds for an enchanting table, for example, but they did not make an enchanting table because Tim forgot the recipe. Also, the most crucial part, the number one mistake in UHE. They committed it. They did not eat the apple before battle. And um, that basically meant that both of them now lost 4 hearts. They had 4 hearts less than they could have had. If you take these if you take these in total 8 hearts, they would have had more health than us and better gear, which could probably have led to them actually doing more damage and maybe even killing me before they could before I could finish off Tim. So yeah, that's just all speculation in terms of how it's gone. They did not eat their apple, which is a mistake by them, which is not my skill, but it is something that's you should really not forget. This is a tip. Do not never forget to eat the apple before battle. And uh, also make sure that you use your shields and that you do not spam click that swords because it's not we are not gonna go back to the old combat system as the newer versions of Minecraft. Their command blocks are just so much nicer to work with. So yeah, we will not go back. We'll have to learn how to use this technique. And at the end of the video, I will still have some tips on that. But let's continue on for the rest of the season. So after this fight, it was pretty much in the bag. Wouter was at half health, and he was all alone. So he he created one of the most notorious one of the most notorious fights, one of the most obnoxious fights. It's was very annoying to have the battle of the high seas with him, to chase after him for 5 minutes in a boat. I don't know what he was trying to achieve, but he delayed his death. That's definitely true. But yeah, in the end, he did not do any damage. He didn't even want to engage, uh, which is kind of understandable if you're like all on your own against a team of two. But yeah, he was not able to win, and both Daniel and myself grabbed the win again for second consecutive season. So yeah, this season it has shown skill, it has shown strategy. I knew when I had to go in. Uh, I had a window. I went for it. It In the end it turned out not to be the best window, or maybe the execution of my plan wasn't that good because they were hiding for me, uh, and they almost got me. But at that moment, my PvP skills helped me, and both the fact that they came in unprepared. So yeah, I'll I won't take full credit for this, but this was kind of down to my performance and not external factors. So the pinnacle of this year's ultra hardcore season 27, a complete turnaround in form, a complete change up in game, and just general excitement. Everyone was very happy, very excited to go and play this game again, which was very fun. We finally got a better crowd. We had 8 people there. Um, four teams of two again. So we had Mark and myself. Uh, there was Meneer and Daniel, Corijn and Luke, and Wouter and Natalie. So, as a summary of the game, of course, we first have to start with what happened with Wouter. Wouter died to Silverfish very early on, uh, which, frankly, well, he should have known. He should have known that in an extreme hills biome, that sometimes when a stone block is very hard to mine, that it's a silverfish block, and that once one silverfish block breaks, then you basically should get out already because there's bajillions of silverfish blocks adjacent to each other. So yeah, he died, and we thought, I feel like it kind of was a fair death, but uh, it was just it would not have been fun for him to sit through the entire thing, which again was a regret from season 25. And so I wanted I was like, sure, we'll give you a second chance, but this is also something I learned from all the way back in season 6. All the way back in season 6, we of course had Marijn, who fell to his death from the tower at spawn, and he got he got uh, he got response with almost all of his health back. So I was like, yeah, I feel like this is a valid death. You should have known this. And sure, I'll grant you uh, participation again, but I'll handicap you for now. So what I did, I put him on half a heart, which may have been a little bit harsh, but I think it was the right thing to do. And yeah, just went from there. Basically, what happens if you're at half a heart, then you need to have a miracle to actually win that game. Uh, so yeah, basically, uh, him and Natalie were done from the start of the game, uh, which is sad, but he should not have died there. And I'm sure that next up in the next UHG, he will be a lot more careful when he's mining in extreme hills. So he's gonna learn his lesson there, and he got to at least finish the season. So uh, what hap- what happened after that? After that, there's like we now had this control points that we could capture. So at some points, uh, both Corijn and Luke and Meneer and Daniel decided to go for the control points. Uh, in the in the end, Meneer and Daniel got there first. They were very well armed. They had a lot of iron during their first 2 nights, uh, and were just very lucky to get there very fast. So what's so what happened then? Once I saw the timer go up, I was like, oh, okay, we have to go now before they can cap this cap this first point and maybe even proceed to the second point. So this was also a wake up call for both Corijn and Luke. They did a very inefficient tactic. They were just mining stone one by one, which frankly, uh, I've done an analysis. I don't. I think that in 20 minutes you can only get to 1,000 blocks away from you if you mine continuously. So this is not this is not a good way to actually make progress. You just have to go up onto the surface and run for 10 minutes and maybe go hide for the night, or if you're close enough, just go anyway. So, but well, they arrived late. Uh, so I saw that they were on the control point. I immediately knew we have to go now. We have to go and take the control points. So, uh, what Mark and I did was we saw the little structure they built on the control points, and we thought like, sure. Uh, they the control point already had been taken, so they needed to relocate. For some reason, they did not know that this was the case. So yeah, at some at some point they were just sitting there and making no progress while Mark and myself were trying to find them and kill them before they could get to the second control points. Uh, so in the end they got up. They went up into the ocean, uh, while uh, Mark and I were still trying to find them. But, however, on the shores, uh, both Corijn and Luke appeared. They also wanted in on the fun, and Mark spotted them. So Mark had all their attention to them, and he told me, "Oh, that's blue over there." So I immediately went up and to see what's the situation we're dealing with. But uh, Meneer and Daniel escaped very sneakily. So they came out of the ocean and they were behind Mark now while he was watching the blue team. So uh, what happened next was a communication issue, or maybe some greed on Daniel's part, because Meneer knew these were two teams looking at each other. With his experience, he knew he knew that we would have our attention on the other team, and that we might engage if they come closer. So if they could sneak away, they might be able to avoid combat. However, Daniel just went in and hit Mark, and this caused them to be separated. Meneer went to the control point. Daniel was getting slaughtered by myself and Mark, all while the blue team was still waiting to get into the water. So, at first blood for Mark. He killed Daniel, and Meneer proceeded onto the next control point where he hid under the ground. So we go to Mark and myself go chase after Meneer because we know he's on his own, and the blue team is still far away. So maybe we can kill him before they arrive, because they were taking their time. We saw them for quite some time already, and they were still just standing there. Only when we were just getting on land for the second control point, they actually they actually made a boat and made an attempt to cross the ocean. So we chased after Madeira. We dug holes. Mark tried his lava technique. Also, this is an individual preference. Maybe you like it, but just don't place lava uh, on top of something and let it flow down. It takes ages for lava to go down. The only time I would use lava is just to put it right below someone's feet or on someone's head. Like immediate contact with a player, then lava can be useful. If you don't use it like that, then it's just gonna be a waste. But this is a different story. So what I was telling Mark, go ahead. You go dig around, go see whether you can find Manir. Uh, I'll keep an eye out on the other team to make sure they at least keep their distance, and if they come down to us, then we'll have ourselves a fight. So yeah, that fight they actually indeed arrived, uh, but they did not arrive in a good way, because again, Quirijn and Luke were separated. Uh, Quirijn went to the left of the island, and Luke went straight in. Well, this time also Mark and myself were separated actually, so we again had two 1v1s. At most of the time, I was just ahead of Quirijn. I always had him kind of covered in combat. So he got some hits off, but it was never gonna be enough. How However, Luke chose his opponent's right because Mark, of course, is from New Zealand. He has a lot of ping, so he had a lot of lag as well. So he was lagging. They were fighting, and Mark decided, okay, sure, I'm not gonna win this fight 1v1. So I'll just bail out of it and go to my teammates. In the meantime, I got Quirijn killed. He did not offer too much of a resistance. I could block most of his shots and slays easily. And then again, it was a 2v1 situation, which, well, frankly, yeah, which would have been difficult for Luke to win. Uh, so he did a pretty good job. He he hit he hit both of us, I think 3 times, pretty often at least, and he built up a lot of resistance until we pushed him to the shore of the islands. I used a technique that's very handy here as well. Like what you can do in the new update is like swim very fast and then come to an immediate halt by blocking your shields, uh, which makes you go very fast underwater and still be protected by your shields. Uh, so yeah, I used it to get closer to Luke, and he and he was now trying to hit me with his sword. So well, what you could see, he he tried to hit me and hit me and hit me, and every time it just didn't work. So what? His beautiful comments. What the hell? Uh, I do really have some lag spikes here. And of course, these weren't lag spikes. This was just me that was blocking his swings with my swords, with my shields, uh, making sure that he cannot hit me. And while he did not hit me, I could hit him. And in the end, when he tried to run away a little bit, I could snipe him with my bow, uh, making sure that we took care of the blue team. So, uh, yeah, this again, this fight, me and Mark against the blue team. This was all due to skill. Just knowing how does PvP work? How do you swim in the water? and but we still had to deal with someone. Uh, because of course Meneer was still underground at the control point. So after we cleared Luke, we uh, said we went chasing after Meneer, and he still was at full health, so he definitely had the health advantage. And when he was hiding just one block behind the wall, and I broke it. He got some hits off of me. I panicked slightly, saying as well that he got me. But then again, I just remembered just use the shield and make sure you block everything every time you hit, every time he tries to hit you. So I did that. I did it. I blocked him. I heard the sound. I blocked him, and then I could take a sweep out of him. And of course, even of course, this is like of course he's gotta get mad because he's cheating. So yeah, he decided to run away because he actually I don't really think he had a plan anymore. He was just kind of delaying his fate and accepting it was over. So he tried to fight back a little bit, tried to block some of the arrows, but in the end, indeed, we chased after them and got the final kill on him. So yeah, that was it for the kills. The season, of course, ended ended in a domination victory, uh, or time victory, having captured the control points. But because unfortunately the purple team, Nazi and Wouter, just ran out of time. They could not get to the point in time, uh, which is a shame. Uh, we would have loved to see a fight in the end. We had a fight, but that was only after the control point had been taken already. Uh, so yeah, how this was a pretty exciting season. We've got a lot of perspectives, so we've got a lot to talk about indeed. So yeah, this is it. It was a great season, and I feel like this win again was down to down to skill and also down to strategic decisions like go after Quirijn when he was this close. Leave Meneer be for the time being. So yeah, this brings me onto the topic of why I am so dominant in the ultra-hardcore seasons. Uh, in my opinion, there's two things that I master very well. These are inside of the game and the PvP system, knowing what to do. So inside of the game, it's like know when you should risk something. No, these guys are on very low health. I can just go in and get my kills. I don't have to hesitate. I can kill these guys. Uh, you don't hold back. Just let it go. If they're on full health, no way. Don't go near them. Go make a tactic. Go try to flank them. See what other way there's around to exploit to exploit this health difference. Uh, but this also goes to caving. I feel like I am very efficient with my caving. I do take damage. I'm not often the Iron Man. Um, however, Meneer always tells me that I always find the diamonds. I always get these golden apples. Yeah, for example. Sure, indeed, I can agree. Sometimes I do get lucky. Like in season 27, I had two golden apples from chests and spawners. Like, that's ridiculous. That's such luck. But then again, there was like this element of knowing, seeing an abandoned mineshaft. If you see an abandoned mineshaft, what I know, I immediately see that there's cobweb there. Cobweb means if you break it with a sword, you get string and you get a bow. and a bow is always crucial. And I also know you can you can have chests there, and these chests often can contain golds or golden apples even. So yeah, it's I feel like insight is something so important. Just know what to do. Just know when to risk it. You can see the diamonds. Sure, it's a very dangerous ravine. Just take a careful look around first. Go in there one by one by one. Take a look at many different angles. Be sure to spot every sound. Spot every mob that's around you. Make an assessment. Can I risk it? Can I go down without this thing falling on my head or me taking damage? And sometimes you do take damage, but that's okay. If you in the end get the stuff that you want, it can make you more overpowered than the damage that you've already got. You can get golden apples, yes. You can get good stuff, yes. Sure. You can survive until the end with full health, but without any stuff, then you just shouldn't complain. Actually, that the others have better stuff if they just took damage. The second thing is the PvP, indeed. So, with this combat update, everything got a lot more complicated. Uh, you could the one that spam clicked the most wasn't just the winner anymore. Um, right now, you have the delay between the delay between swings, and you of course have the shield, which is a mess, makes a massive difference. So what I what I suggest, there's these beautiful indicators in built-in in Minecraft. I don't know whether they're on underneath your crosshair automatically nowadays, but definitely put that thing under the crosshair. Put the indicator under the crosshair. Make sure that you look at it after you've taken your swing. And one also, and the more important thing as well, use your shields. When you're being hit, the shield makes a special sound, uh, which you can where you can then make a plan out of it. Like when someone has just hit you, they are not likely to immediately swing again because it's not going to do a lot of damage. So you can risk taking a little bit of damage, maybe half a heart. Uh, but they had to recharge like their ability to hit you at maximum power, and you do not. So what I always do, I wait for that sound, you hear it, and then immediately you hit back because they will not have their shield up and will be unprotected.
Ambit with one guy. No, I see them. I see you two. No, yeah,
Fuck!
you. Him. Did you die? No, you didn't. Fuck up. Fight. Fight for your life.
Yes!
Yes.
You did it.
This is reaction time as well. You need to train that, of course, and that's only by doing it a lot or doing something different a lot that also requires reaction time or just being a superhuman. But I can definitely assure you I'm not a superhuman. So yeah, I feel like I feel like these are the two main things that's kept me going on top of the community. And well, frankly, I liked winning. Yes, I still play every time, and every time I put in as much effort as possible to win another ultra hardcore season because I enjoy it. However, uh, I do I did start it's becoming kind of a brand for the Diorite experts, and I feel like having the same guy win over and over again it's not good for a sport. Sometimes you need innovation, you need changes, you need to make sure that new legends are born, and I I really hope that giving some advice to others will achieve what I could achieve this year. Like this season, it's been great. It's been great for me. But I'd like to also see some of you up there with me in the with me in the rankings. Like I feel a little bit unchallenged. No offense. Every I I never think I'm immediately gonna win a whole season at the start of it. But well, that's it. It's this has been a lot longer than I anticipated it to be. Um, and so thank you for watching. Our next season will be here very soon, and we're gonna have a lot of perspectives again, also up on this YouTube channel. And I just can't wait. It's gonna be another cracking season. The UHC committee is working very hard. It's Wouter, Tim, and myself, where uh, Wouter's taking care of the command stuff. Tim is our well, our creative head. He came up with the idea of control points, or at least of shaking up the game a little bit to make it more accessible to more people. So the three of us, I feel like we've worked together really well. Uh, and of course, I have to include Meneer for still running these servers for us. Like without his contribution there, we would not have been able to continue UHG past season 3. So indeed, thank thanks a lot to Meneer, thanks a lot to the UHG committee, and thanks a lot to you the players. Yeah, for you to always come back, to actually get more motivated, to keep going, and to get your fame. Like this honestly inspires me as well to work even further and to go and make this game mode better. Like so, yeah. Thank you a lot, and we will see each other in in the final season of this year, season 28, on the 15th of December. And well, we'll see each other then. Hope you found this very informative about how I go about my seasons, and I really hope you enjoyed and can take all of my advice and put it into practice in our next season. So yeah, I'll see you later. Ciao ciao.